It's amazing. I can have a complete normal life now. So I'm bouldering, I'm wing foiling, I'm surfing. I'm also running in the gym. No, I have a normal life.
That's Lizzie, my friend all the way from Sweden, who is suffering with crippling low back pain after a failed back surgery. Well, less than 6 weeks inside of the Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program, her pain was gone. And today we talk about how she did it.
What was life like for you before, obviously, you heard about me and came into me? What were you dealing with when it comes to your pain? And what was your diagnosis, if you were given one?
My diagnosis was herniatic disc. And I started following your work, your YouTube videos, as soon as I got the diagnosis. And I thought, I still want to train, but I don't want to harm myself even more. So that happened a couple of weeks before I was offered surgery. And at the time I was offered surgery, I had pain through the sciatic nerve. So my left leg was hurting so badly that my life was hell. I could not sit, I could not lie, I could not sit, I could not walk, I couldn't exercise anymore. It was horrible. So, and then the pain went away straight away directly after the surgery. As I woke up from surgery, maybe 5 weeks after surgery, the pain came back again.
What did they say? Like when it came back, what was their explanation? And when I say they, I mean the people obviously who you entrusted to take care of you. What were they saying? What was their explanation for it?
Yeah, they said, well, this is expected. As we told you, some of the cases, in some cases, this happens, the pain comes back. What we could do is we could do a new surgery. And I thought to myself, no way, you're not testing on me. It didn't work the first time. I'm not going to give you a second chance. And that was, I believe, the same day I talked to the surgeon. I went to the web and looked you up and enrolled into a call with you. And I think 2 days later, you and I were talking, and I decided, yes, I want to try this. I want to try something that's no surgery, no injections, no medicines. Of course, some painkillers I was taking, but I think I took painkillers for a few days. And as soon as I started working with you, I stopped taking painkillers. I was basically just letting my body and my mind connect.
Question on before surgery. So you mentioned that you would kind of have some on and off symptoms after bouldering or foiling or doing like your normal daily stuff that you were doing. What was your typical response to that pain? Did you have a strategy at that time where you just kind of like, whatever, like movement, exercise, bouldering makes me feel good, so I'll do that, but the pain would kind of come back after? Like, how were you managing that pain at that time when it was kind of hit or miss?
When I was bouldering and I had pain, I would wait a couple of days until the pain went away, and then I would do stretching, like just lying on my back and lifting up the leg, and pushing a little bit and releasing, and that would work. But the thing is with foiling, since it's so dependent on the weather, and it's so difficult to find. If there's wind, you take it. It's not like you say, oh, I have a little of pain, oh, I will skip this one. If there's wind, there's wind. So with foiling, I didn't give myself the chance to recover from the pain. What I now know is desensitize. I didn't do that. So I was just pushing myself more and more because I was enjoying the foiling so much, even though it hurt like hell.
Hey, really quick before we jump back into Lizzie's story, if you are resonating at all with what she's sharing about her pain, about where she is kind of coming from, what she's tried in the past, and you feel stuck, you feel like you've tried the medical model, it's not working, you're kind of giving up hope on it, but there's really nothing else for you to do other than scroll the internet or maybe YouTube videos, and you're looking for something different. The process that she goes through is what I call my hybrid relief method, and it's packed inside of my Strength and Pain Relief Accelerator program. This is my one-on-one coaching program. If you do feel stuck, you need some help, I may or may not be able to help you. I can't tell you that right here, right now, but a simple conversation around your situation, gaining as much context as possible, will give me a hard yes or a hard no. So if you're looking for help, you're looking to see if you are a good fit, go to fitnessforbackpain.com/apply or go to the link below this video.
Right before you came into the program, you and I had a conversation, and you really kind of, obviously everyone has their reservations. What would you say that you were the most nervous about coming into the program or just committing to this process, what was going through your mind before actually saying yes?
For me, what gave me a lot of confidence was the fact that my husband was in the call. And at that point, as I mentioned to you in the call, I was so desperate to get away from my pain that I would have done anything. So I would have jumped into anything, which is not good, because now I jumped into a program which is very good. I could have jumped somewhere else where it was not good. So the fact that my husband was in the whole call, and because he was not the one suffering, he could have the emotional distance to see what could work, what couldn't work, what was right, what was not right. And he had a bulging disc in the neck a couple of years ago, and he understood what you were talking about, desensitizing and things like that. So he had done the process by himself. It took him way much longer, like a year, instead of the 6 weeks it took me. So for me, that was a security.
That's good. I like that. What was the turning point for you to start being like, okay, we're on to something here? Like, this is the path that I can see happening.
Well, from the very beginning, it was so different, because in the beginning it was like, stop doing everything you're doing. Don't do anything. I mean, your natural life, if you need to walk, here and there, but stop doing everything. And for me, that was like a big difference. And as I accepted that, okay, this is what I'm going to do. It was hard for me because I wanted to do things, but I forced myself not to. And because we had our weekly check-ins, and you were constantly like encouraging me to continue like this, it was very good. So I just did it. And the turning point was like 3 weeks in, when suddenly I wasn't feeling pain in the mornings anymore when I got out of bed. And then as we progress in the program, I think it is in week 4 that we start with a few very gentle exercises, and I started doing them. And in week 6, it's like, the transition from desensitizing and moving forward to increasing the level of activity. So week 7, as I started week 7, and I suddenly could do some things, and I didn't feel the pain. Then I realized this is working. It's going in the right path.
Yeah. And I think that's a good point to touch on. It is most people, and I consider anyone who is non-sedentary, right, an athlete. At some point, if you are choosing, we're beyond rec sports, we're not in middle school, high school, or whatever grade school it is, we're not playing like organized sports, but we're still young, we're still able, we still want to pursue competition and exercise and use our bodies. So we're athletes by the definition, in my opinion. And I think it's important is when it comes to pain, it doesn't matter how athletic you are. It doesn't matter how much you wake up and choose fitness, or you choose health, or you choose better eating, or that you've got these certifications in strength or yoga or whatever you might do. Like, when it comes to pain, you really have to look at pain from a different perspective. And people often get confused with this idea of, when I do exercise or move my body, I feel good, which means I must just need to keep doing that, or maybe do more of it. And the problem is we get into this cycle of looking at exercise from an exercise perspective, but all that's really doing is masking our symptoms. And what you do when you're able to kind of like press pause, as hard as that is, and everyone has different levels. Some people, it's very hard to stop because they're like, weight training 5 days a week, and then 2 days a week they're doing like activities they love, like mountain biking or foiling or rock climbing, which is even more activity. And we get stuck, or we get so held back by like looking at the big picture. And that was a really cool moment specifically for you. And I really enjoyed just kind of seeing you that tension, but also that like release of like, okay, like I'm going to trust this process, and I'm going to do what he says to do. Worst case scenario, in 12 weeks, I'm going to get right back to all my activities anyways. So it was really cool to see that trust in the process, and it paid off. Like, it really, really did pay off.
Yeah. And as you say, it was very important. I would say it was crucial. Without that trust, I would have gotten myself in only more pain, because I wouldn't have done the desensitizing part of it all the way as I did. But as you say, it was so hard for me not to overdo it. It was so hard for me. And actually, sometimes at some points during a program, and because we've talked about this in our check-ins, I overdid it. I pushed myself too much. And then I learned, okay, now I know. Take it easy. Go slowly in order to progress fast.
Yeah, absolutely. Less is often more. And that's one of the kind of the mottos that I try to put throughout the content, throughout our check-ins is, pain can be very complicated. It's very complex. There's a lot of things that there are out there that are telling you should be doing this. If you have a herniated disc, you do this, build this and do that. But oftentimes we start doing too much, and then we really don't know what's actually working for us. And then we get frustrated, we get confused. And then we start saying, I've already tried that. I've already tried exercise. I've already tried that. I've already tried this therapy or that modality. And we feel very hopeless. We feel like we're lost and we can't do anything, but it's really just, we've done too much. So we can't really identify out of those little things that we were doing. Maybe it's exercise, maybe it's stretching, maybe it's whatever. We can't really identify what was actually working and then double down on that little thing. And that's really where relief happens, is if you can identify those things. And you have to stumble. You have to fall through the things that aren't good. You got to test. You got to use data to make smarter decisions so that you can get yourself out of that like pain fear cycle and get you where you're at, where you're like, now I get to have fun and test myself and see where I'm at, how much I'm still progressing, and then doing harder and harder. So that's really cool.
As you say, it was so important to, because the program is built in that way, like adding small things like one at a time. And then I could, at every week, I could find out, okay, this is working and this is not working. I could say exactly what was causing pain and what was not causing pain. And if I look like for the system, that the standard health system, I couldn't see that because I was given a lot of bunch of things to do, and in the end I couldn't tell, well, what's helping, what's not helping, what's causing pain, what's not causing pain. So I like that very much, and I also like very much that there's a lot of education in your program, and I think it's so important because understanding pain and knowing more about how pain works and how our mind works makes us also make better decisions.
It can be sometimes the boring parts because we're like, okay, I understand this. Like, I want to get to the action. Like, what's the reps and sets and exercises? And oftentimes when it comes, once you truly understand the mind-body connection and how important it is, you just got to commit to it. And you exactly did that. So again, I appreciate that.
I read everything and I watched everything. I really absorbed everything there was to absorb. And I think it's so important. So anyone, I don't know who will be watching this, maybe someone doing the program, maybe someone thinking about the program, but it's really important to do all the homework. So when you suggest, read these books, watch this, it is really important to do it.
Love that.
Commit to the process.
What would you say is the biggest difference, and this is kind of comparing where you were before starting the program to where you are right now? Like what is that difference look like? If you could describe it, like what is life like for you now to be able to have that back and have this freedom to do more?
It's amazing. It's amazing. And I can have a complete normal life now. So I'm bouldering, I'm wingfoiling, I'm surfing. I'm also running in the gym because it's too cold in Sweden. So I have a normal life, but at the same time, I'm very mindful of my body. So if anything doesn't feel good, I always remember what you told me. Desensitizing comes before exercising.
That's awesome. And it's really cool, just you being out of the country and being like, you never had to fight traffic. You never had to put a jacket on to come meet with your person who is helping you. Like, you were able to do this right from home. And I think that's which is a huge blessing for me, because I'm able to interact and meet people around the world that I'll probably never actually meet in person, but I was able to provide value to you and really affect, in what I like to think, affect your life in a positive way. And the fact that you are so far away from where I'm at, like, you don't need a clinic, you don't need like a gym that you can come meet your coach in the gym. Sure, there's benefits to that, but the fact that you're able to experience the relief and the freedom that you have being so far away is a really exciting eye-opening opportunity, I think, for anyone listening to this.
Yeah, and I would say this was also possible because of your level of dedication. Because when I was uncertain of certain movements, certain exercise, I always could shoot a video and send it to you, even outside the weekly check-ins. And you were always open to give feedback, put in the time. So this was possible also, as I say, because of your dedication.
Last question. What would you say if someone is kind of on the fence, they're uncertain, maybe they don't have their husband or wife, cheering them on next to them. What would you say to kind of pull them off the fence and get them excited about starting something that might challenge them, but ultimately could change their life? How would you encourage them?
Yeah, I would say fight the fear of thinking, will this work for me? I know from your side, William, you will make it work, but it needs to. It's not just your commitment and your dedication. So the person participating in the program needs to commit and needs to follow the process, trust the process. If you say, don't exercise, don't exercise. If you say, desensitize, you desensitize. If you say, read and learn, you read and learn. If you're willing to put the work, then stop worrying about any fears, but commit. So important to commit.
I love that. Thank you so much for sharing that. Like I said, there's so many students who are just starting, who are midway through, who could just find so much value in this. I think that's what I've learned over the years of doing this is it's not, it's not enough to just provide the solution, provide the roadmap, but it's like that encouragement along the way, because I know it works, so I'm encouraged, right? But like other people are still fighting that like uncertainty, and like even after investing in themselves, even after a week, 2, 3, 4 weeks into the process, that has to be reminded. It has to be continuously pushed and instilled of encouragement. And I think just hearing your story and what you ultimately did to achieve what you've achieved and what you'll continue to do to achieve the life that you want is extremely powerful. So I appreciate you coming on here and chatting. Yeah.
I hope Lizzie's story encourages you. I hope it gives you hope. I hope it gives you a path to search for other than the medical model. If you are looking for something different, if you feel stuck, if you don't think that what you're doing is working, or it's just not gonna work because you've been doing it for months and months and years and years and years. If you think you want help, you're ready to kind of take it to a different place, gain some new context and some new strategies, you can go to fitnessforbackpain.com/apply. below this right here, or you can go into the description of this video and there'll be a link to book that call for us to have a very simple conversation to see if us working together is best for you. You can grab that again at fitnessforbackpain.com/apply. Thanks again for watching. God bless, and I'll see you on the next episode.